welcome. When's the last time you heard someone say,
"This is why people see veganism as a crazy religion"? If you can't question, if you can't say, wait a minute, does this make sense? If you can't explore and wonder, then this is not what I want to be a part of, ever, again.
It seems at least once a week that I see someone make a big production out of how, oh, I used to identify as X, but then I found out Xers are assholes, so I'm no longer X. Everyone then applauds their endorsement of the popular stereotype and moves on with their lives, with little to no attention paid to the distant sound of a shotgun blast as logic itself, overcome by its abusive relationship with humanity, wraps its lips around the barrel for the umpteenth time. Sadly, logic can't die, for logic represents the contiguous nature of reality, and this metaphor would make even less sense without it. To say that this is a fallacy is to understate the obvious. It is so fallacious that to suppose rationality on part of the speaker is to suppose that they only endorse views which are held by friendly people. I shouldn't have to say that this is absurd. Hannibal Lecter can be mighty friendly when he means to be, but does that mean you should engage in cannibalism? Assuredly not. And so too would it be equally absurd to disregard cannibalism on the merits of not cannibalism itself, but its practitioners. The advocates of an idea say nothing of the tenability of an idea, and likewise the tenability of an idea says nothing about the advocates of an idea. You can draw inferences from probabilities, sure, but probabilities are for determining truth under uncertain conditions. If, say, for example, you had no knowledge of what atheism is, you might defer, in a pinch, to a test of consensus. The vast majority of people do not endorse atheism. It would seem reasonable, then, to assume that atheism is untenable. Similarly, you could put it to a test of authority. While the view is held by a minority of people, it is yet advocated for by highly educated scholars and masters across various hard sciences. Provided you lent some credence to the realms of higher education and the discipline of science itself, your blind judgment would seem less certain if it was not in fact overturned. But when you familiarize yourself with an idea so intimately so as to become comfortable with identifying with its associated labels, you are no longer free to defer blind judgment, for you are informed, and you cannot choose not to know what you already know. You cannot play dumb. You understand the concept, and you understand the merits of the concept, and that the merits of the advocates of the concept are inextricably secondary save where the idea in question entails a relationship with said advocates. Veganism is not one of those ideas, nor is atheism. Both are statements of personal abstinence, and the value of that abstinence is measured against the value of that which is abstained from. And the value of that which is abstained from is, in this case, the true fulcrum on which your allegiance in favor of or against it should lie. To cut straight to the chase, choosing to disassociate from something because you don't like others who associate with it is beyond stupid. This is literally called an association fallacy. It is to condemn or endorse an idea based on the merits of an associated idea, as opposed to the merits of the idea itself. It is mind-boggling to hear people say that they used to be an atheist until they found out that the, quote, atheist community, end quote, was just as, if not more toxic than the one they left. I'm sorry, but how did that thought even run through your head? What, you saw too many cringy, amazing atheist videos and you concluded, yep, God makes sense now? At what point does your dislike for smug fedoras translate into evidence for God? Or even better, at what point does my ability to irritate you render your consumption of animal products anything short of abject cruelty? Let me give you a personal example. Gary Yourofsky is considered to be one of the most, if not the most, influential speakers on veganism. By all accounts, I should like him, right? Well, guess what? The one and only time I've ever communicated with him, he was a complete and total dick to me. A dogmatist like any other, Gary Yourofsky is not open to nuanced views on the subject. With him, it's my way or the highway. Should I then have concluded that
I thought the vegan movement was about saving animals and being better to Mother Earth, but it's not. It's not at all. It's about a bunch of little haters clinging together in their own little religion and pointing out how every other group is superior to ours and we're better and we hate you.
No, that would have been obscenely fucking stupid. Because again, the merits of the advocates of the subject say nothing about the merits of the subject they are advocating. This is like saying, well, I would believe in evolution, but Richard Dawkins is a jerk, so evolution is dumb. This is such an obvious failure of basic logic, yet I see it over and over and over again. I've been to various schools, and not a one has ever presented a class instructing students on how to identify even the simplest fallacies, and it grinds on my non-existent soul every single time a wise-ass walks out of one of those schools and considers himself educated. I don't like most vegans, yet I'm still vegan. I don't like most atheists, yet I'm still atheist. And I don't know that many Georgists, but I'm sure, given enough time, I'll be sick of them as well, and that will change nothing of my view towards the subject itself. Because I'm not here for the group mentality. I'm not here for the lifestyle. I'm not here to be an activist, and I'm not even here to make friends. I'm just one feeble human being struggling to make sense in a world of interrelated phenomenon. And there's one phenomenon, one single string underpinning the canvas we hazard to call civilized society, one root of all evil, from which all the blight, turmoil, violence, and depravity springs forth from. And that's dogma. It is idiocy, given winged rise on a chariot of certitude, and it chauffeurs its victims into that vacant hellscape of the mind, where the laws of reality hold no sway. And that's why I have conversations. That's why my channel isn't about any one thing. I don't want to be about any one thing. I have multiple interests, and for the problems I see solutions from all corners of the political spectrum. I'd prefer to unite them than pick a side and damn the consequences. I prefer to take good ideas where I can get them, regardless of their source, even if that means I have to rob a few graves to do it. Your social stigmas and taboos will not stop me, and I challenge everyone else not to let such things stop them either. And if I stop you, if my attitude towards you affects the credence you lend to an idea I advocate, then I think it's fair to say that nobody should take your endorsements of anything to be a product of a rational consideration of the subject. If you give me enough power over you to where all it takes is a casual insult for you to eject any sense of moral integrity you otherwise might have had, you are weak. You are a small, spineless fucking person. And I wish nothing but for you to get over your ego and curb stomp that sucker into remission where it belongs. Thank you for listening.
You can kind of tell when somebody makes only videos about one specific topic and it's an ideology, whether it's MGTOW or feminism or whatever, they usually are kind of wacky. You have to diversify. You gotta mix shit up, otherwise life gets really boring and you start acting like a lunatic. So, hashtag not all MGTOW, man.